It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Today we are going to learn about the first person on the moon. He was a famous astronaut named Neil Armstrong. Neil was born in Ohio and was the oldest brother in his family. When he was little, his father took him to an air show where airplanes flew and raced across the sky.
Wow, Dad, look at that airplane.
From the moment he saw airplanes, he loved them. He wanted to fly airplanes himself. He wanted to become a pilot. Not long after he saw his first airplanes, Neil got to fly in an airplane. After this, he knew for sure he wanted to be a pilot. When Neil was 14, he took his first flying lessons. By the time he was 16, he had a pilot's license, which meant he could fly a plane all by himself. Neil loved to fly planes, but he also loved to learn about them. He built his own small model planes and did experiments on them to see which designs flew the best. He designed a wind tunnel in his house. A wind tunnel is a tunnel which forces wind through it so he could test his model airplanes. Neil loved airplanes, but he also enjoyed learning about space. Often he would look up into the sky and wonder what was out among the stars and if people would ever go there. His neighbor had a big telescope that Neil often used to look at the planets and stars. In school, Neil listened to his teachers and did his homework because he knew he would need to learn all he could in order to become a great pilot. When he got older, Neil went to college and worked hard to learn about planes and engineering. Engineering is the science of building things, which for Neil was building planes. While Neil was in college, a war started and he was called to be a fighter pilot. His job was to fly airplanes off huge ships called aircraft carriers. He flew 78 missions during the war. One time his airplane was shot and he had to eject out of the seat and parachute down to the ground.
Mayday, mayday, going down.
Fortunately, he was rescued and was safe. After the war, and after finishing college, Neil became a test pilot. A test pilot tries out new planes to make sure they are safe for others to fly and to help make them better. Sometimes it was a dangerous job, but Neil had courage and tested over 20 new planes. He even set a record for flying one of the fastest planes in the world. Neil loved airplanes and space, so he decided to become an astronaut, a pilot who flies to space. He had to work hard to become an astronaut because only a few pilots get to become astronauts. While Neil was an astronaut, America was planning its first space flight to the moon. Neil was picked to fly the spaceship that flew to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
While the ship was landing, something bad happened, and Neil had to fly it down to the moon himself. It was scary, but Neil kept his cool and landed the spaceship safely. After they landed, Neil was the first person to step onto the moon. These are the words he said.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Millions of people all over the world watched as Neil stepped onto the moon and put an American flag there. Neil's footprint is still on the moon today because there is no wind on the moon to blow it away. Like Neil Armstrong, you can be curious about the world around you. Neil was curious about airplanes and space and learned all he could about both of them so he could become an astronaut. He also listened closely in school and did his homework so he could become an airplane builder. He was brave during the war when he was a fighter pilot. He was also brave when testing new airplanes. Before going to the moon, he had to practice day after day in order to pilot the first spacecraft. Like Neil, you can do great things when you are curious, brave, learn new things, and practice, practice, practice.
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.